Hey, this week's episode is about how hard it can be not to have control and how it affects us. I'm glad you're here. So, new year, new episode. If you listened to my last one where I talked about how I got COVID and exposed my family, they're all okay and actually tested negative, so we got very lucky. I've waited a bit to make a new episode because I wanted to really gather my thoughts for this one. I've been dealing with a lot in my life, from school and family problems and being there for my friends. It's been very emotionally consuming, and it's also made me want to talk about control. Control is something we all want, something that gives us structure and power and consistency. We want the control, but sometimes we can't have it, and that's when things get hard. I think right now, so many people can understand the feeling of being stuck or helpless. Things happen and we can't stop or avoid them, so we're forced to face the thing we don't have control over. I'm someone who has to work on letting go and try not to be controlling. I like for things to have happy endings and be organized and look good and put together. Life is not that way all the time, though. This past year has really taught me that. Life can look messy and scary and not very pretty, but that's reality. Losing control makes people question their judgment and do things that are out of character because they want the control back. I think a good example of this is the recent seditious Capitol attack we all witnessed last week. Those angry people who refuse to accept the presidential election process that has been going on for hundreds of years and attacked our democracy did so out of hate and the fear of loss of control and power under a different presidency. And I'd like to add that what those domestic terrorists, call it like it is, were able to accomplish did show that they have power to push what is acceptable. If that group of people were people of color, it would have looked very different and a lot more silenced. We've seen it look different in peaceful protests with people of color all throughout American history. This loss of control makes people do crazy and unjustifiable things. Now, of course, what happened is more complex and calculated and incited by the losing president, but the whole thing is about power and control. So what can you do when you don't have control? This is my battle. I'm currently in the process of applying to 2 potential transfer schools for my junior year in college. This was not an easy decision to come to transfer schools, and it definitely required me to give up control. All I can do is apply and hope I get in and hope that my new school will be a place for me to thrive. We all lost control when the pandemic hit. It was horrible, yes, but that experience and lack of control gave me an opportunity to reflect on how I was feeling and helped me come to the decision to transfer schools. For me, sitting in the discomfort and anxiety of not knowing what's in store next is torturous. What I do is focus on what I do have control over. My reactions, my habits, how I take care of myself, and who I surround myself with. These things help me manage what I don't have control over and give me perspective on what I can depend on. Then I'm able to appreciate what I have and be grateful for the good things going in my life. Extremely valuable to habitually take time to remind myself what I do have control over and be grateful for the love and beauty in my life. Taking that time also shows me how far I've come and makes me see the bigger picture. Things seem so big and real and important at the moment that they happen, but if we look at the bigger picture and have a long-term vision, I think it would help us handle the anxiety from momentary loss of control. With transferring, I used to let my thoughts spiral about what it would be like in a new school. What if it's like my old school? What if I can't make friends? What if I fail? I've had to remind myself why I'm changing schools and that it's okay and that these are all what ifs. Also, that I always have control over what I do. So focusing on what you can control, appreciating where you are and what you have, then reflecting on how far you have come. That's how I've learned to deal with it. It is not easy though. I have been thrown things in my life that are hard to compartmentalize like that. Things that can be rationalized and that have changed me as a person. These past few months especially have shown me the importance of grieving and sitting in the fear and pain and the unknown of things we can't control. I know that at a time right now during a pandemic, but also just in life in general, so many of us have had to deal with death and loneliness and mental illness. I'm not a professional, but I do have my own experiences, and it's always helped me to talk to people. I've been surprised at how many others have had similar experiences to mine, and has made me better able to manage what I'm facing because I could talk to another person. Sometimes other people can give us a different perspective and ideas than we have, which can really be helpful. I think also that we're not faced with things that we can't handle. That doesn't mean, though, we shouldn't push through the messy and scary parts of our lives alone. Asking for help or just for someone to listen to you doesn't mean you're weak and can't handle your own problems. It means you're self aware, and it's kind to yourself to not go through the messy, scary, ugly parts of life alone. Also, how we grieve and deal with our pain of loss looks different for everyone. Handling fear and anxiety and pain is a very individual thing, and there isn't one right way to cope. I know that I need to be more forgiving to myself when I'm not able to meet a goal or do more than one thing some days. Because sometimes things that have happened months ago resurface, and that's okay. That's what's been consuming my mind recently. I think we need to talk more about not having everything together all the time and making decisions that go against quote unquote the norm for our own benefit. I keep thinking about social media too, and even my own accounts, and how it's just a whole collage of happy moments. But again, that's not how people's lives are, and we really don't know what people are going through behind the camera. It's okay to be in the unknown and not be okay and not have control. It's in these times where I find I grow the most and I have clarity on what's really important and worth my time. A big part of this too is our attitude and having perspective. I'd love to hear about what you're feeling towards this new year and how you deal with not having control all the time. I think I'll make episodes when there's a topic I really want to talk about. So not consistently every 2 weeks. I could come out with more episodes or less, but I want to be really into the topic and not force myself on something I'm not so into that week. Thank you for being here and listening, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon. Mwah.